Welcome back to another episode of Stranded in the Paint. Ethan Morrison here with Tyler Gallo. This is our first of hopefully many off-season episodes. I mean, this transfer portal has been wild. A lot of stuff to touch on today, but Tyler, first off, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm happy we could get this set back up. A couple weeks out from my internship, so I have a bunch of open time now to do this stuff. And I'm excited to talk some college hoops.
Well, first off, let's start into some serious matter here. Some shady business going on in the world of recruitment. Efton Reid, he was a 5-star recruit. He was looking at Pitt and LSU. Those were two teams on his radar in his final list of teams. Now, he delayed he was supposed to make his announcement on Friday of last week. And then just on Twitter, he came out and said, I'm delaying my recruitment. And everyone's eyebrows were raised.
Reminds me of a certain Colonials player this year.
We're like, oh, what's going on here? I mean, I was looking at some Pittsburgh Sports Now's Twitter, and everyone's like, oh, he's making some more time for Pitt. He says this is probably good news for Pitt. But it came
That's
out.
what I wanted to believe.
So then he announces his recruitment. I think it was like on Saturday. Says, I'm picking LSU. That's my school. I'm going to commit there. And then Mike Vukovican of Pittsburgh Sports Now says, oh, I got some interesting news on the Efton Reid commitment to LSU that you guys are going to have to stick around for. And then this story was published on, I think, Sunday or Monday. Yeah, whatever date May 10th was.
That was a Monday.
And, oh, boy, Efton Reid committed to Jeff Capel.
Oh, no.
And then he backed out to pick LSU. So I was like, it sucks for Pitt.
It does,
because, yeah. They've had troubles recruiting guys this whole year. Another thing with transfers backing out, with guys transferring out of in and out of the program. Do I kind of feel bad for them? Yes, but as a fan and someone that covers Robert Morris basketball, we're all too familiar with players transferring in and out of the program. So but this is just stabbing you in the heart and saying,
really is.
What are your thoughts on this, Gallo?
There's definitely some shady business going on there. We were not strangers to seeing this Efton Reid saga play out. Pittsburgh Sports Now covered almost every aspect. Like, if he blinked differently, they would have reported on it. And, you got to feel for Pitt because Jeff Capel went in thinking, oh, yeah, this is our guy. We got a huge boost to the class. And they were probably already adjusting, all their rotations and lineups and already getting ready for the arrival of him. And then all of a sudden, people are like, wait a minute, LSU? And, people are saying oh, yeah, it was money. They offered him some. They offered his mom something because his mom was involved in the recruiting process as well. But it was just weird. It was like, okay, yeah, he's definitely going to Pitt for literally 99% of his recruitment. And then all of a sudden, LSU out of nowhere just comes in from the top rope and nabs this 5-star recruit, which is a game changer for any school. And you gotta think, for Pitt, you're like, what the heck did we do wrong? What did we do? And then, of course, it's just tough. It's just really tough, especially with the landscape of college basketball right now. But he might be a one and done. So really, in the grand scheme of things, it may not even matter.
And then I know Jeff Capel posted something on, I believe, Instagram or Twitter, and it was something just a stab at Efton Reid as well. But this sucks.
It does.
This sucks. In Pitt basketball, they've been slowly trying to, build up their program back to what it was like when Jamie Dixon was head coach, trying to dig themselves out of a hole that Kevin Stallings put them in because they were pretty horrid the few years before Jeff Capel was named head coach. But this just sucks for them. And just to pick, a lot of people say pick money over. Like I said, yeah, pick money over going to school and just having money as that type of thing to decide over. Oh, I'm picking this school over this school, but it's just difficult to see him do that, and just I don't want to take this into like what society is today, but it is kind of like, oh, this is how society is acting today, and just words can't even describe like how Jeff Capel is probably feeling in just the whole Pitt fan base after seeing this Efton Reid saga play out. But in other news, let's go down to the mid-major level. Patrick Baldwin Jr. He committed. He finally announced his commitment. He had Duke, Georgetown, and then Milwaukee, which uniquely enough, his dad is the coach there.
And on his way out, I might add.
So he is the number 4 recruit in the ESPN 100 2021 class. So he announced his commitment to Milwaukee yesterday, Wednesday, May 12th. So like I said before, we covered Robert Morris, and they just moved to the Horizon League. Milwaukee's in the Horizon League. What are your initial thoughts and feelings of Patrick Baldwin committing to Milwaukee to play for his dad, Tyler?
Well, I know you're going to say at some point, or I'll say it before you do. I'm going to say Daddy Ball right now. But first off, I mean, I think it's both a blessing and a curse, because he's going to be a one and done. Everybody knows it. And he's going to burnish his credentials in the Horizon League against teams that aren't as good as teams you'll see in the ACC or Georgetown's conference. So I think it's good for the Horizon League in terms of like getting eyes to the league and having more people, more fans, and more viewership. But it's also a curse in that Milwaukee's not going to know what to do when they get this huge hole in their lineup after 1 year, if it is a one and done. And now him paired with Dre Golston is going to be just lethal. And yeah, I'm not too afraid because they're only going to play a max of maybe 3 times this year. But I think it's good for the Horizon League, but it's also not good for his credentials per se.
Yeah, I think having a 5-star recruit come into a program in a conference, yeah, it's going to be a major boost and a lot of eyes will be on the Horizon League this year with Patrick Baldwin Jr. Going to be playing for Milwaukee. So it's going to be nice there. But also, Tyler, do you think this will hurt him in terms of, I mean, I know you mentioned it before, but do you think this will hurt him long-term playing for his dad in Milwaukee instead of taking the bigger challenge and going to a team like Duke or a team like Georgetown, which, I mean, Big East has a lot of talented teams, and, the ACC, they're stacked top to bottom with players and, a lot of competition there. So do you think this will hurt him long-term, especially knowing that he will go most likely the professional route?
I think it will hurt him in ways, but I think if he just dominates in the Horizon League, it's not going to help him or hurt him in any way. But I think, no one's going to – Milwaukee doesn't jump off the page as Duke or Georgetown would, especially in the draft. But I think it'll hurt his draft stock tremendously, but I think if he continues to if he balls out, I mean, there's nothing more he can do. He's playing the hand he's dealt in the Horizon League, but teams in the Horizon League are going to prepare for him, and that's going to be the biggest problem is they're going to build their defense around him. Like, I'm going to put RMU in here. They can stick defensive stalwarts like Khalil Spear on him, and he'll be neutralized pretty well. But, Milwaukee, I mean, that's a huge get for them nonetheless.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, we see another question for you, Tyler, is we saw Tajon Lucas enter the transfer portal. He's I think he was the starting guard from Milwaukee last season. Do you think he'll change? Do you think he'll come back and say I'm returning to Milwaukee? Do you think he'll come back with the signing? Because I think Baldwin's he's a power forward. So do you think he'll come back because of this recruitment?
I think he could, but he also might want to go to a bigger school. But with him, I mean, people are going to already pick Milwaukee as a slam dunk pick to win the Horizon League, but that's never certain. I mean, last year, the Horizon League, everyone picked Wright State to win the Horizon League, and it was not. Wright State didn't win the Horizon League. So anything can happen in a given season, but I think I think it's just going to be tough for him to harken back on his original statement of entering the transfer portal. If he can get a bigger option, so be it. Go to the bigger school. But if no one's reaching out, like some of the RMU guys, I haven't even heard if they've gotten any offers yet. I think he could come back, but also it would make sense for him to not come back.
And speaking of that, let me just say this. One player's not going to – I mean, yes, this is the number 4 ranked player in the country in terms of recruitment in the class of 2021. Well, one player's not going to make or break your season here. You need to have that full team collective effort and, everyone being able to gel together. I mean, because, we saw this, for example, with A.J. Brown, he was averaging 22. Once you start to get those guys, multiple guys on you and guarding you tough and heavy and physical, you're going to be neutralized. And, that's why, you're going to have that cohesive collective effort to be able to win a conference like the Horizon League. And, so like I said, you're going to have that collective effort. And, if they're able to do that with Milwaukee, they're going to be a dangerous team. But if they're just going to be relying on Patrick Baldwin, which I don't really think they will, they do have some good pieces. But they're going to have to play with more than just that one or maybe 2 guys that they have.
Yeah. And like we have seen before with RMU, the best team on paper isn't always the best team.
Right. Exactly. Well, moving on, let's dive into the transfer portal. And wow. Just wow.
It's crazy.
Wow.
RMU's been the beneficiary.
Yes, they have. But to date, thank you, verbal commits. Bravo to you. 1,588 players in the portal to date. Let me just refresh this to see if anyone else has decided to transfer. No, it stayed the same. So just moving down here. Just what are your thoughts here? I know the new rule has been put in place with the one-time transfer thing where you won't need to go through the waiver process, but even that has not stopped players to just entering their name in the transfer portal. I know Robert Morris, they have I think a couple of guys that will have to go through the waiver process, and I know multiple other players will have to go through the waiver process because they've transferred to more than one school. I know for example, Ferran Flavors and Rasheem Dunn, those 2 guys, they're going to have to put their name in the get a waiver. So what are your thoughts on this transfer portal?
Well, I think you can never get attached to a team because they could all transfer. Hell, the team that RMU had that won the NEC championship, but yeah, you can't get attached to a team. And I think, like you mentioned with Ferran Flavors, I think he'd be more likely to, I think Rasheem Dunn's is more likely to get denied than his is, if there will be denials, but I don't think they will because is Rasheem a grad transfer?
Yeah, they're both grads.
If they're both grad transfers, they'll probably be fine. But yeah, you can't get attached to a team. It's basically like free agency with just the entire league as free agents. It's like I'll liken it to a video game thing. I like it to a fantasy draft where you can pick whoever the heck you want and have them come on your roster. That's basically what it is at this point because, no team is certain every year. And with RMU getting at least, I think it was 6 or 7 guys now and 7 guys going out, an entirely new roster within a calendar year. 3 guys are still here. Cam Ferris, Enoch Cheeks, and Khalil Spear. That's the only 3 guys that are left.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And I know now, I've heard a couple of people say this is going to be the norm for the next 2 to 3 years until everything just starts to slowly calm itself down. But nonetheless, just once again, a lot of players in there. Some notables. Foster Lawyer, he averaged around 4 points at Michigan State. He transferred. He transferred to Wake Forest. Wake Forest. Hold on, give me one. Wake Forest, I believe. So that's one guy. Hold on. Not Wake Forest. Sorry, excuse me. Davidson. So that's a big get for them. Davidson was one of the top teams in the A10 last year as well. Also, Youngstown State transfer Niles Bohannon committed to Clemson just a day ago. So that's also another good size get for Clemson as well. And Naz is taking the jump up to ACC competition, so that should be an interesting fit for them there. But Tyler, any final thoughts before we wrap up this episode?
I think we're going to see a lot of roster turnover over the next couple of weeks. I know are we in the recruiting dead period right now? I believe that's what we're in right now.
Yes, I believe so. I think
because
there's a few weeks of dead period.
I got a tour of the new University of Delaware football facility, and that's what they were telling me. But I think there's going to be a lot of roster turnover after June 1st, and I think no roster is certain coming into this season, and it's going to be a very weird year of basketball. You're going to see guys in uniforms like balling out, and they may not all mesh together, but I think it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, so it should be interesting. Well, that will do it for this episode of Stranded in the Paint. For Tyler Gallo, I'm Ethan Morrison. We will see you next time.